Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of What's on My Desk. So today we're talking about things that go ding. We have the Platinum Hourstriker from Ulysse Nardin, the Jaeger LeCoultre Master Minute Repeater in titanium, and the Grand Sonnerie from Audemars Piguet in platinum. So when I talk about things that go ding, I'm talking about, you guessed it, minute repeater complications within the watch. I got 3 different models here from 3 different brands just to show you the difference from the lowest complicated to the most complicated. I want to start off with the Ulysse Nardin Hourstriker. The Hourstriker is a 42mm model made out of platinum, with a Lapis lazuli dial. Lapis is a semi-precious stone. It's got an exhibition back and the functionality of, as I said, an Hourstriker. Now, what is an Hourstriker? An Hourstriker is something that does just that. It strikes the hours. So if I depress the button down here, you can hear it. Now, Ulysse Nardin adds a little twist to it, a little mechanical feature where you see the guy ringing the bell, where some Hourstrikers don't have that. This is somewhat of a Ulysse Nardin trademark if you think about pieces like the Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, etc., where they have these animations that go on the dial. This is probably its smallest one. Let me do that again so you guys can see and hear it better. Now, one thing worth mentioning is this other button. What it does is, if you set it to this position, the Hourstrikers is off. If you keep it in the position where the bell is, it will actually strike the hours as you're wearing the watch every hour on the hour, letting you know that an hour has passed. The retail on this watch is $130,000. A lot of those thousands are actually due to the fact that this is a platinum version and it has a Lapis dial. Normally, an Hourstriker will retail under $100,000. Still expensive, but not as expensive as a minute repeater. Next up is the Jaeger LeCoultre minute repeater. Now, this is a true minute repeater. What a true minute repeater does is it will actually chime the hours, the quarter hours, as well as the minutes that are currently displaying on your watch. Let me show you. Before I get into showing you the minute repeater, I just wanted to show you the watch. This is a beautiful 42mm watch made in titanium, and I'll tell you why later. It's got a skeleton front and a skeleton back. Now, I want you to pay attention to the gongs. They actually chime the time for you. Now, right now, I set the watch purposely to 11 and change just so we get more chime out of the watch. That was beautiful. Now, the reason I told you I was going to tell you about titanium later, because this watch's most impressive features are the chimes. They were able to get these to chime at 55 decibels for up to 2 feet away. Your average minute repeater is going to chime at about half that. And the way they achieved it is by the use of titanium. Now, I don't know the intricacies of why titanium makes a minute repeater sound better, so I'm not going to pretend like I do. Nevertheless, this is what this watch does. Now, just to go back to the last watch you guys saw, which was an Hourstriker, the key difference, once again, is your Hourstriker will strike the hours, letting you know that an hour has gone by and what hour it is. The minute repeater will chime the hours, the quarter minutes, and the minutes. Therefore, if you listen to the entire melody, you know exactly what time it is. Now, the retail on this Jaeger minute repeater is $180,000. Doesn't seem like that great of a difference considering how much more complicated this is than an Hourstriker. However, Jaeger LeCoultre are actually notoriously known for not setting their prices extremely high on their watches. Biggest reason for that, they make their own stuff. They don't have to pay anyone else for their movements. Next, I'm going to talk about this watch. And I'm going to start with the fact that this watch retails for $495,000. Doesn't look like a whole lot for $500,000, does it? This is the Audemars Piguet Jules Audemars Grand Sonnerie Carillon minute repeater. Not this Carillon, but this Carillon. The Carillon is a music instrument that's typically housed in a bell tower or a municipal building. Now let's get a close-up of this thing. As I said earlier, not much for $500,000. This is probably the ultimate conservative watch for a collector. No exhibition back, nothing fancy on the dial, no fancy buttons anywhere, just a lever on the right and a button. Now here's the $500,000 sound. Now what makes this thing so complex and so expensive? Well, it's the lever that you see on the side. So the lever on the side with the markings of S, PS, and GS stands for Sonnerie, Petite Sonnerie, and Grand Sonnerie. Now all that means is if you set the watch to Sonnerie, it would only chime out the time fully at the depress of the button. You set it to Petite Sonnerie, this watch will chime the hours for you on its own, and if you send it to Grand Sonnerie, it will chime out the hours and the quarter hours for you as you are wearing the watch all on its own. Pretty impressive considering this thing is a fully mechanical watch and that there's not a little guy sitting inside and going ding, ding, ding on these levers. Is that corny or what? So, just to recap real quick, we discussed an Hourstriker, we discussed a minute repeater, and we discussed the Grand Sonnerie. Hourstriker will strike the hours for you. A full minute repeater will strike the hours, the quarter hours, and the minutes for you. The Grand Sonnerie will do the same, but will give you the option to set it to where it will chime on its own, whether you want to just hear the hours or the quarter hours. Let's talk about resale value real quick, and I'll go across all three. Minute repeaters in general tend to be expensive, and there's not a whole lot of minute repeaters out there that are a minute repeater on their own. They're usually paired up with other complications like the tourbillon or perpetual calendar or chronograph. But what you will find is that the resale value across pretty much every brand is pretty weak, and the reason for that is the watches are really, really expensive to begin with, especially when you're looking at a piece like this that retails for $500,000, and you're saying to yourself, who's going to spend $500,000 on this? And this is the very reason why they don't really hold their value all that well. So in the secondary market, expect to pick up minute repeaters anywhere from half their retail value and sometimes even less. Last but not least, I'm going to show you what's on my wrist. I have the Jacobin Company Epic X. Now this is a far cry from a major brand minute repeater. Why am I wearing a Jacob? Well, the answer is simple, because I like the watch. And I'm actually going to take it off this time for a change and show you a little bit of a close-up of this piece. Kind of looks like a tourbillon, doesn't it? It's not. It is a full skeleton, PVD case. You can see the entire movement through the watch. And this thing has a very reasonable retail price. It retails for a little bit over $18,000. Now, I know that this Jacobin Company doesn't exactly fit into the scenario of $500,000 minute repeaters from guys like AP or $200,000 minute repeaters from guys like Jaeger, but Jacobin Company himself has come a long way. He's come out with such wonderful and innovative pieces. He's turned his company completely around. He went from making bling bling watches, the famous 5 time zone watch that you guys I'm sure all remember from every other rap video, to making some of the most complicated pieces in the world, like this guy or this guy. Perhaps in my next video, I'll do a comprehensive review on some of those more complicated pieces from Jacob. But for now, I want to thank you for tuning in. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe to my channel. And stay tuned for more watch reviews and other videos. Until next time.